Hey everybody, welcome back. In the last video, we took a look at creating a slideshow in Google Slides and then adding Pear Deck type questions to it and the ways you can use templates or to ask the students a question. So in this one, we're going to present this slideshow and look at it from the student's perspective and see what they see. So the best way to do that, and really I think one of the easiest ways, is to do it from slides. You can do it from the Pear Deck website. That also works, and I'll show you that in a later video. But in this video, we're going to present from Google Slides. So we're in the slideshow, and again, I don't have anything on that front page, but that's okay. We'll just get rid of it to avoid confusion. We are going to present with Pear Deck by simply clicking on this green icon up here. When you click that, it's going to pull up a new tab. It's going to ask you to make sure that you're signed in. It does. Again, the first time through, ask for your permission for a couple things, and the students also need to do that as well. So when the students sign in the first time, it's also going to ask them to get their permission to see things in slideshows and stuff like that. All right, I'm reauthorizing. Okay, so again, depending upon the length of your slideshow, it may take some time to upload those slides to Pear Deck. If you've got a 40-slide slideshow, that could cause some issues. It may take a little bit of time, but they'll all work eventually. So, step 1 of 3 before we're sharing says make sure that this browser is the one that's visible on your classroom projector. Again, they don't want you accidentally showing something that you're not supposed to. So once you see it on the projector, hit OK, and then this is the code that the students will see. So the students are going to type the URL, or again, you can share the link through Classroom or however else you want to get it to them. But the URL is I'll go back to this one, joinpd.com, all one word, .com, and that's the 5-letter code, so PKKBT. So if I'm looking at it from a student's perspective, BKKPT. That is not right. What is it? PKKBT. Whoops, got a little backwards. All right, PKKBT. There we go. Now we're in. And so what the students will see is this opening screen. It says, while you're waiting for things to get started, how are you feeling? So I can say, yeah, I'm feeling pretty good. And the teacher is going to begin shortly. So this now is totally directed by you, the teacher, on your account. So I'm going to go back to the teacher slideshow. So this is the teacher one. Again, this will be what's on the projector, and this is how you control it. Again, you can use the slide navigator here, but as soon as you move this arrow over, you hit the icon to go right, it's going to start the presentation for the students, and it'll tell you how many have joined. So once I start, now I see what is your favorite color, and this would be what's up on the projector, and the students will see the same thing to the left, but they'll have the ability to type their answer over here to the right. So I'm going to say, I guess it's red. That's kind of hinting, it's a little bit suggestive there that whole thing is red. So once it's in there, I now go back to my teacher side, and I have one response. Now, once I get responses, I can toggle them on and off by clicking right here where it says project student responses. Now, if you don't want your students to see the responses until you're sure they're all appropriate, you may need to freeze the projector or maybe pull a different slide up or minimize this, or if you are extending your screen, that makes it a little bit easier. But once you click on it, your projector will show the student responses. So again, you can look at them as lists, or you can look at them in grid view, and as they answer more questions, these will fill up. So it's pretty handy. And again, the students won't see anything. They'll see their own answers. They won't see the other students' answers. All right, so let's go to the next slide and see what they see. So now we're moving on to, here's the line into a dragon. Going back to the student session, they now have a whole bunch of art tools. And again, this can be a pretty good way to get kids to explore a little bit of creativity. So I'm going to turn this into a dragon. Rawr. It's kind of a Tyrannosaurus kind of thing. Yeah, I went more of a, it's got a tail though. Let's say it's got a tail. And yeah, there we go. And we'll give them wings. Look at me. I'm a artist. And how about some fire? Okay, you can see how much fun this would be. Okay, so I turned that line into a dragon, I think pretty well, honestly. Let's go back and see what the teacher sees. So now the teacher can look at, again, the student responses. And here we go. You can actually overlay all of the drawings on top of each other if you want to get crazy. We have multiples, you can see that. But again, the grid layout will show you all of the students' answers here on the grid. And so again, a pretty fun way to look at what kids are drawing. And again, hopefully hopefully they will be appropriate. All right, so drag the dot to the phrase you like best. Here again, you don't see a dot. The student will see this dot. Of course, blue on blue, probably not my best choice. But again, they drag the drop to whatever image you want on here. So in this case, I'll say keep going. I understand. You could also have this be a map and say drag the dot to a city you'd like to visit someday, and we can talk about some of those things or something like that. Or what location did this event happen, and they have to find it. And again, those are lots of different creative ways you can use the dragging and dropping. Let's go to the next question. Again, drawing the label. If we go back to what the student sees, the text option, clicking on T and then clicking there allows you to say, those are wings, and they can move it around somehow. Well, anyway, there we go. I knew they could. So again, just clicking on the T and then creating a box, they can do it that way. So again, pretty versatile tool here, the drawing tool. They can also erase, they can draw lines. The highlighter allows them to highlight over text and not cover it up. If they were doing the pencil and they chose that, they would cover up, for the most part, the content. So anyway, that's how that works. Pretty great tool there. And then finally, as we get to our multiple choice, here they have the ability to choose which answer they want. Okay, and then you as the teacher on the presentation side sees a bar chart, bar graph. So looking at those and the presentation from the teacher's side, it's pretty self-explanatory. It's really handy. These little grid views up here can be pretty neat to be able to see what the answers are. And again, for any time you have a drag and drop or a dragging of the dot, if you want to overlay those so you can see where the majority of your dots ended up, that's kind of the point of that one. You can lock the slide so that the students cannot edit it anymore. And so if you lock it, it goes back. It says your teacher's locked the responses, so they can't do anything. You can unlock that again. You can, in the middle of a presentation, ask a new question. So you could ask them an interactive question. You could ask the same question with the same content. You can add an interactive question here, and just by simply saying, okay, do you think I'm telling the truth? And if you say true or false, the students get a page that says true or false. So it can be a real quick response. You don't have to create a new slide to do that. You just throw it in the presentation as you're going along if that situation calls for it. So again, lots of versatility as you're presenting, and that's that ask a new question button. And then finally, we've got a couple premium options over here. You can make it full screen. You can open the dashboard in a new tab and open the dashboard in another device, which are both premium features. And this allows you to control the slideshow from another device, be able to see student responses first before you show them up on the screen. And it does add a little bit more control and a little bit more ability for you to be sort of walking around the room and controlling the slideshow than the way it's set up. But again, you can still function without those premium options, but they are pretty cool. The second to last thing I want to show you is the turning on the student paste mode. By turning on student paste, this allows the student to simply go through the slideshow on its own. So here it says your students are in student paste. I say, okay, I got it. If I go back to my student view, here now I have these arrows I didn't have before, and I can go through, change my answers, redraw things until the teacher turns it off. So now we're done with our slideshow, and we want to sort of take this information and process it. So what we can do now is go through and we can export some of these and take a look at these responses, and this is pretty good. So When we're all done, let's go back to our teacher version. We're gonna stop the student paced version of the presentation. We're gonna go in here and end the session. So when we end the session, what it's going to do is ask us to name it. I already named it, so it didn't give me that prompt. But if I were to go back, I'm looking here at peardeck.com, which is again the home page for Pear Deck, and this will give you the option to see the sessions, to get some help. Pear Deck vocabulary is another really awesome thing that deserves its own video. You can create presentations straight from Pear Deck. They've got some suggestions down here, learning and exploring, some cool ways to help reinvigorate some of these old slideshows. But if we go to our recent files down here and we take a look at this particular slideshow, which is the one we just did, you can edit it. You can start presenting. You can import slideshows that are already created. In order to do that, and you on the free version have 50. So again, that's pretty good amount of slideshows, but another reason possibly to go to the premium version. But if I go here to this practice session, which is the one that I just did, I can click on that. It's going to ask me where do I want it to go, practice on the projector or the dashboard. And the dashboard is our premium feature, so we'll go right to the projector. What this will do is bring back up that session that I just had. Same code, same everything, and I can see the responses by turning them on and off just like I did before, which again is fantastic because I do want to be able to see, maybe what the kids did. We can go back and review. Oh, look, last time you guys all said keep going. This time some of you are still confused. So again, you can make some comparisons. What's really nice, since at this point all the responses are anonymous, we can export this to a spreadsheet. So if we click on export to spreadsheet, it's going to create a Google spreadsheet, and it's going to put that content in there with their email addresses. So what does this tell you? You've got the name in here, you've got the email, the slide 1 answer, the slide 2 drawing. It's a drawing. They couldn't put the drawing in there. They can tell you the location of slides 3 and we only did the one circle. So this is where the dot ended up, which again, you'd have to kind of figure out the X and the Y axis to figure out where the dots all lined up, but it can be done. Again, there's another drawing there. Here's the choice they made, and true or false. I guess I never answered that question. So in this particular slideshow, maybe, or this particular spreadsheet, maybe not a ton of information, but it can help you, again, see who responded. If you've got anything written, you'll be able to take pretty good care of that. So again, good way to go through, take a look at your data, and use that as formative assessment. So Pear Deck, pretty awesome tool. I love that it integrates so easily with Google Slides, Google Classroom, and those types of things. And it's a great, easy tool to add to your repertoire as a teacher. All right, thanks. Hope you enjoyed Taming the Tech tonight. We'll see you next time.